Hi guys, Scott from Phantom Fleet here, and on this week of Storytime we're going to be diving into the Fallout lore and looking at the corporation behind the vaults, Vault-Tec. So, if you've played any Fallout game, you'll have most likely come across a vault or Vault-Tec, but despite their presence in every game, there feels to be a lack of information on them as there are no real storylines or missions surrounding them. So unless you read the in-game terminals, there isn't a whole lot on Vault-Tec, and that's where this video comes in, to fill in the gaps left by the terminals. So, if you're watching this, I assume you'd rather hear it in one place than traipse about a bunch of vaults. Okay, so playing the games, you'll have undoubtedly come across the experimentations within the vaults, from addiction treatment to experimentation with FEV. And this would have led you to wonder, I'm sure, what exactly is Vault-Tec and how were they trusted with the future of humanity? Well, before the bombs dropped, Vault-Tec was just another pre-war corporation. We do not know if Vault-Tec was founded specifically to build vaults or before, but what we do know is they were based in Los Angeles and they'd revolutionized subterranean construction techniques. And using these, they built a demonstration vault in Los Angeles. And using this vault, they managed to win the government contract for Project Safehouse. Project Safehouse was a federal project that focused around the safeguarding of the people of America from nuclear war or from plague. The contract stated that Vault-Tec needed to build 200 vaults, and when you consider the political and financial situation of pre-war America, Vault-Tec did pretty well. Of the 200 planned vaults, 120 were built and fully operational in between the years of 2051 and 2063. But considering that each vault could only hold around 200 to 500 people, not many lives were saved by these vaults in the grander scale of things. This being said, on top of building vaults, Vault-Tec was also known to build a smaller version of a vault called a Series 1000 shelter, which was essentially a smaller and less effective version of a vault. But besides producing vaults, their main production was a number of different technologies that improved vault life, such as auto cleaners, sun simulation lighting, entertainment rooms, and eyes-on-you cameras. Vault-Tec was also known for its nuclear reactor development, automated medical equipment, and simulation booths. Fallout 3 players would be very familiar with the crowning achievement of Vault-Tec, the Garden of Eden Creation Kit, or a GEC.
To find a GEC, we can make Project Purity work. I needed information about Dr. Braun's research and development of the GEC. It's vital to getting Project Purity running.
However, I believe that their most recognizable creation from across the games is the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System, or VATS, the keystone of any Vault Dweller's arsenal. However, I do feel that I have become sidetracked by talking about what Vault-Tec produced, and to get back onto who and what Vault-Tec are, I think to get a better understanding, we should look at how they was viewed by pre-war Americans. On the outside, they were seen in a very positive light. They had an exhibition at the Museum of Technology and an attraction at Nuka World, as well as an assortment of promotional products from famous bobbleheads to the limited edition snow globes you find in New Vegas, from lunchboxes to bomber jackets. Using these promotional campaigns, they maintained a very positive public image. But for the employees of Vault-Tec, it is a very different story. In fact, it is the complete opposite. You could describe this almost a two-sided coin, the outside and the inside. Upon joining Vault-Tec, employees would be given the Vault-Tec handbook. This handbook outlined every procedure of the company, from how to fill out forms to the exact length of a bathroom break, which was 135 seconds for those of you interested. On top of this controlling atmosphere, aggression and abuse by superiors was encouraged. This is a fact that can be seen in most Vault-Tec locations. A good one I can think of right now would be looking at the Vault-Tec HQ in Boston. Reading the terminals there, you'll see a number of mails that show this abuse within Vault-Tec. Overall, Vault-Tec was very draconian in how it managed its staff, with abuse, control and power being the pushing force. And if you're wondering why people didn't whistleblow, well, it's pretty simple. Project Safehouse, which Vault-Tec was producing the vaults for, was protected under the newly amended Espionage Act. This meant that anybody who whistleblowed was at a high risk of physical bodily harm, as well as their family and friends. This created an air within Vault-Tec of corruption, embezzlement and mismanagement, and as such, this would explain why some of the vaults weren't completed in time, and also why Vault-Tec was happy to take part in the Societal Preservation Program, which was a secret agenda imposed on the Vaults by the shadow government, which later became the Enclave. Again, I digress slightly. I think I should probably just move back to Vault-Tec again before I go too far down the path of the Enclave. Vault-Tec also manipulated their vaults. In fact, they built Vault 88 specifically to test new technologies that they could use to control the inhabitants of their vaults. Luckily, this vault was never completed in time as the bombs dropped, but you can still visit it if you have the additional content in Fallout 4. I do feel I have become sidetracked. Just to recap what Vault-Tec was then. Vault-Tec is a pre-war construction company that won a government contract for Project Safehouse. On the outside they appeared very kind and loving towards the public, but they were a dual-sided coin, and on the opposite side they were incredibly aggressive towards their own employees. Embezzlement, corruption and mismanagement were the norm within the company, and this allowed the Enclave to influence them, resulting in the failure of many of the vaults. And I'm sure you probably want to know what happened to Vault-Tec once the bombs dropped. Well, there isn't that much lore on this area specifically. I have a personal theory that I'd like to share. I believe that the upper management of Vault-Tec would have most likely taken shelter within vaults or with members of the shadow government in their military bunkers. I believe they either blended in with the vault population or merged with the shadow government and formed the Enclave. But as I said, there's very little lore on what happens on Vault-Tec after the bombs are actually dropped. But we do know is that they don't survive like the rest of the world because you never see them in the real world. Well, except for the representative from 4, but I don't think he counts. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a great day.